From global interceptor shortages tied to the Strait of Hormuz, all the way to unprecedented direct phone lines between the Oval Office and the Federal Reserve, our news landscape is just shifting incredibly fast right now. So in today's Explainer, we are connecting the dots. We're going to look at exactly how massive geopolitical disruptions bleed directly into our local politics and, crazily enough, right down to the addictive apps on our smartphones. Let's just dive right into our agenda to track this whole ripple effect. We've got 4 parts today. Number 1, global conflicts intersect. Number 2, shifting federal power norms. 3, the rising progressive wave. And finally, 4, business and consumer extremes. All right, starting with Section 1, global conflicts intersect. We really need to understand that geopolitical conflicts are just no longer isolated events, right? They are literally bleeding into one another. Just take a look at Kyiv. Firefighters there are battling these massive blazes after deadly Russian missile and drone strikes hit civilian areas. We're talking warehouses, a train station, killing at least 17 people. But here is the truly alarming part. Ukraine's air defense forces, they couldn't intercept a single one of the 28 incoming projectiles. 0.
So you might be wondering, why did the defenses completely fail? Well, it's this brutal chain reaction. See, the ongoing U.S.-Iran war has severely drained our global stockpile of Patriot interceptors. Now, you combine that massive shortage with President Trump sort of backtracking and casting doubt on sharing Patriot technology, and suddenly Ukraine is just left totally defenseless. Think about that for a second. A conflict over in the Middle East is quite literally compromising the airspace over Eastern Europe. And meanwhile, the economic picture in the Middle East is just sitting on a knife's edge. Right now, Iran and Oman are quietly nearing this very fragile draft agreement to reopen the highly contested Strait of Hormuz. It's a delicate balancing act. Under the draft, Iran gets oversight of inbound ships, but they absolutely cannot levy tolls or service fees on that traffic. If this deal actually holds, we are all going to feel that relief at the gas pump and across global shipping costs. But mediators are absolutely terrified that hardliners might just blow the whole thing up before the ink is even dry.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, shifting federal power norms.
So these immense global pressures, they're actually upending how our most foundational federal institutions operate. For decades, recent presidents from Clinton all the way to Biden strictly avoided publicly pressuring or even directly contacting the Fed chairman. It was this hard separation designed specifically to keep everyday politics out of your borrowing costs and your mortgage rates. Well, not anymore. President Trump is frequently on direct phone calls with Fed Chair Kevin Warsh. They're bypassing formal channels to discuss everything from the Iran war to how AI is impacting the broader economy. It is an absolute shattering of established norms.
And we're seeing the exact same whiplash over at our health agencies. Just track the incredibly turbulent journey of Moderna's mRNA flu vaccine here. Last year, under RFK Jr.'s HHS, $500 million in mRNA contracts were abruptly canceled. Boom, gone. Then in February, the FDA outright refused to even review Moderna's application. But then we get this total reversal. By June, an advisory committee recommends it, and in August, it finally gets full approval for adults 50 and older. I mean, talk about a highly politicized, unpredictable roller coaster.
Right amidst all of this federal chaos, Dr. Erica Schwartz just secured the permanent director role at the CDC, but you've got to look at that margin. It was a razor-thin 51-44 vote. She is inheriting an agency that's essentially been headless for a year, completely plagued by crushed morale, and now they're dealing with a sudden resurgence of diseases like measles popping up across the U.S. It is literally a trial by fire for public health leadership right now.
Section 3, the rising progressive wave.
What's fascinating is that this massive restructuring at the top federal level is completely mirroring what we are seeing down in our cities. A rising progressive wave is securing these wild upsets nationwide. Over in Michigan, Dr. Abdu El-Sayed narrowly defeated a heavily favored establishment centrist. In Detroit, Democratic Socialist Donovan McKinney actually ousted an incumbent. And in New York City, Mayor Zohran Mamdani is literally dismissing corporate leaders from a vital city hall advisory board.
The thing you really need to take away from this is just how monumental these wins truly are. To quote Democratic pollster Ivan Rothsmith, this victory does blow up many of the assumptions about the limits of the progressive movement. And he hits the nail on the head. Why? Because El-Sayed survived a staggering $32 million in opposition spending from AIPAC-related groups to win on a Medicare for All platform. Defeating an incumbent-backed centrist in a major Midwestern swing state against that kind of financial war chest, that is a totally new political paradigm.
Look a little closer at New York City. Mayor Mamdani isn't just winning elections. He is actively severing ties with the traditional business elites who, let's be honest, usually run the city.
By firing real estate and corporate leaders from the mayor's fund, he's deliberately shutting out traditional power brokers to push his progressive agenda. Now the C-suite is left totally scrambling, trying to figure out how to even talk to an administration that straight up doesn't want them in the room.
Which brings us to Section 4, Business and Consumer Extremes. So how does all this shifting political power actually translate to business on the ground? Just look at Detroit. While progressive politics are shifting the ideological makeup of the city, billionaire Dan Gilbert is physically transforming it. He's pushing this wildly ambitious $1 billion riverfront development, backed by $300 million in state subsidies, by the way, to tear down part of the iconic Renaissance Center. It's this fascinating, almost ironic contrast, right? You have massive, state-subsidized corporate real estate developments happening right alongside a massive surge in socialist electoral victories, all in the exact same city.
Now, moving from massive corporate real estate down to deeply, deeply personal stakes. Consumer behavior is being pushed to the absolute extreme. $1.4 million. Just take a second to process that number. That is exactly how much a 45-year-old accountant named Sean Harding lost in just 4 short months. And no, he didn't lose it on a bad stock tip or a real estate deal gone wrong. He lost it all on a live shopping smartphone app called Whatnot.
Harding was completely seduced by these algorithm-controlled scrolls and high-pressure, live-streamed countdown auctions for baseball cards. He blew through his savings, took out personal loans, and eventually even stole from his employer's credit card. He just kept telling himself, one more time, then I'll sell it all and make the money back. But the app's design made it so frictionless, so incredibly easy to just swipe right, that it ruined his finances and his marriage. It tragically illustrates the dark trickle-down effect of our fast-paced modern tech ecosystem, where these algorithms are literally weaponized against human psychology.
As you can see, every single thread here is connected. Wars in the Middle East drain defenses in Ukraine. Shifting norms in Washington redefine global health policy. Local progressive waves completely restructure power in our largest cities, and algorithmic consumerism pushes everyday people right to the absolute brink. So, as these macro disruptions continue to accelerate, the real question we have to ask is, how will these ripple effects alter the micro details of your reality tomorrow? Thanks for joining today's Explainer, and keep connecting the dots.